This guy Moore.
John Moore in the morning?
Are you recording?
Yeah, it's recording.
No, but you put up this that's anybody forced to come
I think the next time Trudeau's furnace breaks, we should tell him we'll fix it from home. The next time Trudeau's furnace breaks, they should tell him we'll fix it from home.
No, it's already up to. It's already starting to dwindle down.
Okay, so let's see the Heilige Gemara. I believe we are on the bottom of Daf Gimel Amud Beis, and we were discussing yesterday what radius around a krach and a mekafel chayma is considered mekafel chayma, and we also learned about a city that had asar batlanim, and then it lost asar batlanim. It could be reinstated if it gets asar batlanim again. So just to clarify. A city that has a wall around it. If it had a wall around it, mimois yeshua, it doesn't matter if there's no more wall anymore. That city always lands only on the 15th. Whether it has a lot of people, whether it doesn't have a lot of people, is irrelevant. It's designated on the 15th. A city that did not have a wall around it, mimois yeshua, that city, its designated day for Purim is day 14. The only exception to that rule is if this city doesn't have a Asar Batlanim, it doesn't have a Koil, it doesn't have a guaranteed minion. So such a city is Makdim L'Yom Echnisa, they would lend the Megillah the Monday or the Thursday before the 14th. That is something that is reversible. So you can have a city that was a big city that lays only on the 14th. It could have lost all of its inhabitants. They could have all moved to Lakewood. And now we're considered the Kfarim again, because we don't have enough people, we don't have Asar Batlanim, and therefore we would lay in the Megillah the Monday or Thursday before. And then, if for some reason the Koil and Lake would stop paying, and now people come back to Toronto Koil, or if Toronto Koil pays even more, so people come back to Toronto Koil, so then Toronto becomes once again a big city, and then it would be restricted to only lay in the Megillah on the 14th. It has a negative connotation. I hear. So you have to look at a baton with a different perspective. Here in the Aguda, it's a choshev zach to make kiddush. When you make kiddush, one of the remazim for kiddush is a bottle. So a bottle means someone who's in the Besmerish who makes kiddush. So that's a bottle. He makes a l'chaim, he makes a tikkun, it's a bottle because it's into the bottle. Okay, zok to Gemara vayt. Tanya, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yosy Simon. Good morning. Asher loy chayma, alpha pisha ein loy achshav v'hoyle kaydem l'chein. So clearly, a walled city, if it's walled, is always considered walled. The earlier Gemara, the Gemara says a city that was good, then it was harb, and then it was reinstated, gets back its status, is speaking about the status of an Ir Gedola that's on the 14th. Now we're going to start getting personal. Which cities are actually considered Mekafos Chayim? Lud, the Einoi, the Geacharosh. Those are Mekafos Chayim Hiyos Yeshua B'Nunab. And Rashi tells us what was interesting about these. They are in the cities of Shevet Binyamin. Alpahal, Iver, Umishem, Bishamar, Hu Bona es Lud Ves Einoi. Sefer Divrei Yomim miyachzoi al Shevet Binyamin, and in Sefer Divrei Yomim we were taught that these families are Shevet Binyamin. Gemara Gomerla Reb Shua ben Levi Merabe, and Reb Shua ben Levi was taught from his Rebbe the Mekafos Chayma mimois Yeshua ben Nun. His Rebbe told him that he knew from his Rebbe passed on from generation to generation that these cities happen to have been Mekafos Chayma mimois Yeshua ben Nun. So let's see the Gemara right. Correct the Gemara. V'hani Yeshua ben Nun. Are you telling me that these cities were built by Yeshua? V'alfal ben Nun. Alfal, who was from the family in Binyamin, they built it. That's generations after Yeshua. So how could a city that was built generations after Yeshua be a city that's Mekafos Chayma mimois Yeshua ben Nun? The Chsev uvnei Alfan Ever u'Mishem Bishamar Hu Bona es Einoi Ves Lud u'V'Noiseh. According to what you're learning, that these are later, I'll ask you another question. Asa benanu. It wasn't Alpahal who built these cities, it was Asa, which is even later. Now the Gershas are a little interesting here because the pasuk doesn't exactly say what the Gemara quotes. So if we look at the pasuk, it says Vayiven Ore Mitzura Yehuda, and we know who it's talking about, but it doesn't say the Ferish. Vayiven Ore Mitzura Yehuda, and Rashi is going to tell us that this is referring to Asa. It doesn't say Vayiven Asa's Ore Mitzura Shashal Yehuda. It doesn't really say that. We just know that it was Asa that the pasuk was talking about. So therefore, who built these cities? These cities were originally built with walls in the days of Yosy. There was a horrific civil war in the days of Pilagish Megillah, where Klal Yisrael sort of decimated Shevet Binyamin, and those cities were destroyed at that point. And then Alpal came and rebuilt those cities, but the city still retained its status of Mekavos Chaima. Hadar Inpol, I guess he didn't have the best engineering skills, and the city that he rebuilt collapsed again. Also Asa Shavtzinu, and then Asa came. So it's not a stira that we have different psukim attributing the construction of these cities to three different people, because in fact, this city was rebuilt several times. The economy. It's still Mimosh Shubanon, because once a city was built Mimosh Shubanon, even if it lost its wall, it still retains its status of Mekavos Chaima Mimosh Shubanon. The economy. Let's build these cities. How could you build a city if it's there already? It's like a hot water heater. You can't heat hot water, right? People call it a hot water heater. It's a water heater. It's not a hot water heater. If it's hot already, you don't have to heat it. Unless you have this chaynik over here, where even though you have the big chaynik that's hot water, you have to heat it right there. But normally it's not. The
Does hot water stay hot even if you don't heat it?
Okay, so let's see Rashi. I didn't finish the Rashi before because it was relevant to later. So let's go back to the Rashi on the fourth line. The Kamani, Lud v'Oinoi, two of the cities that we're discussing, Lud and Oinoi, are listed as Arei Chaima she'einin hagais elam mimosh shubanun. Ulafisha Chaimeseyan nearest Chadashos, because their walls look new. K'damin lekaman she'naflu they fell. V'chzikan, and they were rebuilt. Huskak Rabbi Shuban Levi l'hoyed shebechlal Mekavos Chaimahen likros Megilla b'desma. So the question is, why is Rabbi Shuban Levi busy in a lesson in the history of these cities and where they're from? The teretz is because these cities in particular had newish-looking walls. So people would say these walls aren't old; they weren't from Moshe Shubanun, and therefore these cities you would lay on Yudalit. So Rabbi Shuban Levi said, even though these walls look new, I want you to know these walls were there in Moshe Shubanun, and they were rebuilt. It doesn't say the Yechazak Asa either. It doesn't say this in any pasuk. So there's a girsa that our Gemara put in brackets that it takes out. Rashi had a girsa of Yechazak Asa, and that's not either in the pasuk. Avo Mikra Achar Ksiv. It does say a different pasuk. It says Vayiven Ari Mitzarim BeYehuda, which is what we read from the pasuk. Vayiven Ari Mitzur BeYehuda. That's what the pasuk actually does say. Va'afal Gav Dahani Lav MeYehuda Ninu. Even though these are not from Yehuda, even though we're saying these cities are not Ari Yehuda, these cities are from Binyamin, nevertheless, Macha Yehuda Moishlim al Binyamin. The kingdom of Yehuda also controlled the territory of Binyamin. Mutina Ba'asa, Shaf Ari Binyamin Chizek, you find that he was Mechazak, he fortified even the cities of Binyamin, the Chsev Yisus, Avnei Rama, Vesetzah, Ashervana, Ba'asa, even by Mesgeva, Vesamitzvah, in Ari Binyamin, Yeshua, you see that the Yehuda administration, the Malchus of Yehuda, also improved the cities of Binyamin. The Mepelagish Begiva was when these cities were tragically destroyed. Shechrivu Yisrael es Binyamin ves Araf, Kedichsiv Gam Kol Ha'arim Hanim Tzoyish Sholchu Baish. Sheftzinu. What does it mean? It means, I don't even know what this word means. If anyone can help me, is his hichzik es batkeyan. He strengthened it. I don't know what the word batkeyan means. The doimaloi b'yavamis, you find something similar in Yavamis. Toim v'leisishbitz or Spitz V'Leitivna. So Spitzinu means it's a renovation, it's an improvement. I just don't know what the title of the word Batkein is. It's what? Oh, so Batkein means maybe the cracks or the breaks. Okay, so it's like tuck pointing, right? Filling the cracks. Okay. The economy. Okay, so now we have a new Gemara. The Omer of Shuban Lady. Shuban Lady is very dominant in Megillah over here. Noshim chayavos b'mikra Megillah. Women are mechuyev in mikra Megillah. It's a very big sugya here. Why are they mechuyev in mikra Megillah? She'afhein hayu ba'oisen nes. They were also in this nes. It sounds like a simple two-liner, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's see Rashi. She'afhein hayu ba'oisen nes. She'af al hanoshim gozer hamon lahashmid laharigul abed minar batzokin tafanoshim. They were also in trouble. So since they were also in trouble, that's why they're mechuyev in mikra Megillah. Let's see Tosfos, because there's two very important things to discuss over here. Noshim chayavos b'mikra Megillah. Mikan mashma.
It seems like the attitude of the woman is that, if it doesn't affect me, then
No, normally they're not mitzvah mitzvah shesman grama. Here, even though not I'm saying the Torah says not mitzvah shesman grama. The Torah says this is a mitzvah shesman grama. Since you had a tremendous benefit from it, you also have to be part of it.
The men that can say our foot hurts.
What do you mean our foot hurts?
Remember when Shlomo Shadron came in to the doctor and his wife's foot was broken?
Oh, he said our foot hurts, right?
Only the men can say that, the women don't say that.
They say too, but still not hoy boy nice. Okay. Mikan mashma shanoshim moitzios es acherim yidei chayvos. If it says noshim achayos and mikra Megillah, so they have exactly the same chiyuv as men do. So oibazoi, women should be able to be moitzi a man in mikra Megillah. V'achanami mashma be'erchen. Tik omar hakol ksherim likres a Megillah. Now, if I'm not mistaken, in the conservative Gemara, the Tosfos stops here, but our Gemara goes a little bit further. Umasik hakol ksherim uasuyamai in erchen. The Gemara is medayik. It says hakol ksherim likra Megillah. Who's it being marba? Umashan lasuya noshim. That women are kosher to read the Megillah. Mashma la hoitzi afilu anoshim. The pashtus of the Gemara erchen is that a woman can be moitzi even a man in mikra Megillah. The kosher of Tosfos. But it's not true, because the Habbatesefta Tani Behedya, the Tumtum Ein Moitzi Loyas Minoi Veloya She'enim. A Tumtum, you don't know if he's a male or a female. He can't be moitzi anybody. So right off the bat, the worst case scenario, he's a woman. Yet he can't be moitzi, not a woman, not a man. Vandrogenis Moitzi Asminoi Veine Moitzi She'enim. Upshita the Loyadifa Isha Mandrogenis. So the halach is v'chein pasku halachas gedolos. The Isha might see Amina Avalay. So the halachas gedolos paskins that a woman can be moitzi a woman, but a woman cannot be moitzi a man. The Shlomo is okay. So the Slokadai Klayol Krios Nafilo Genoshim Kamashlan the Chayavin. But I'll call upon Tosfos is saying that a woman cannot be moitzi a man. So the shaila here is what is the chiv of the woman and what is the chiv of the man? Here in our Gemara it says that she's mechuyev in mikra Megillah. But there are those who learn that she's only mechuyev in shmias hamegillah. She's not mechuyev in mikra Megillah. She's only mechuyev to listen to the Megillah, and therefore she can't be moitzi a man, nor could she be even moitzi a woman, because she doesn't have a chiv of mikra Megillah. But the Bahag says that she could be moitzi a man. I'm sorry, she could be moitzi a woman, so she does have some level of kriyas Megillah. So there's a lot of lumdus about how it works.
Can you just explain this Tosfos again? If everybody has the same chiyuv, what difference does it make that the tumtum is a suffix? We don't know what they are. Everybody has the same chiyuv.
Not if a woman and a man do not have the same chiyuv. So we're bringing
what's the initial position of Tosfos? What's the havamina here? Like, why is the tumtum excluded? Just because we don't know what their gender is, what their sex is.
Correct.
Are we starting from a position that everybody has the same chiyuv? It seems like we start from the position that everybody has.
Started from that position, but from the Gemara that says that a tumtum cannot be moitzi anybody, from there Tosfos proves that a woman cannot be moitzi somebody.
So what's the chiyuv that's different? So you're saying shmiya for a woman?
One of the spars that I heard is that could be a woman who's not mechuyev in mikra Megillah, she's only mechuyev in shmiya Megillah. That was one of the spars that I heard. There are Achronim who want to look like want to say alumnus that there's two dinim in Mikra Megillah. There's a din of the person Nisa, and there's a din of the Halal, and one she's Mechuyvin, and one she's not Mechuyvin. There's a lot of alumnus about the different chiyuvim that you're Mekayim with Mikra Megillah, and that leads into, if you make a shechiyana on it, to this sugya spins off into a lot of different Torahs. That's already above my pay grade. We'd have to ask the rabbi. I don't know. I don't think the Rav said through Zoom you can't be Yotze. But there was a tzad, if there wasn't a delay, you could. The Rav said you can, if there wasn't a delay, but you have to ask a real rabbi. I mean, he's asking me. What's that? Could be. I hear. I hear. Yeah. Okay. Let's see the Gemara weiter. Zok the Heilige Gemara weiter. Vomer Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Oh, I'm sorry. There's another important topic of Afim Oyu Bois Hanes. So Rashi explains that Afim Oyu Bois Hanes is we were potentially threatened by Haman, and therefore, since they were potentially threatened by Haman, they celebrate. They have a chiyuvim to give shvach v'odah for the Hatzalah. But Pirush Rashbam, that's not some. They were also part of the Nes. Sheikir Hanes Hoya Al Yodam. By Chanukah and Purim, they were the catalysts for the whole Nes. The Purim al Yidei Esther, and the Chanukah al Yidei Yehudis. And by Pesach, it should be schus tzidkoniyos should be oisador nigalu. They were saved because of tzidkoniyos in that time. The problem is, if that's pshat, like the Rishbam learns, the kasha, the lashon she'afhein mashma shem tfeilos. It's not mashma that they're center stage, that they were the main catalyst for the Nes. It's mashma they're also included in the Nes with everybody else. Ulupirushay, the way the Rishbam is learning, hoyoloi loimer shehein hoyones. Let's see what the test is. Yes, we definitely do it. So Shein Hayu Ikernes. It should have said they were Ikernes. Kach nearly Sha'afein Hayu Bisofik the Lahashvidu Lahari. So Toshis is agreeing with Rashi's chart that we already learned. The Chain the Pesach Shayu Meshubolish Lapar B'Mitzrayim V'Hem B'Chanukah Hagzer Haisa Ma'od Aleihim. Frank Toshis, by Matzah, why is there Yeshmaksha by Matzah? There's a kasha that they ask. The Velt frame. Lomali Hikesha. Why do we need a hekesh? We have a hekesh that the chol sheyeshna bebal toichel chametz yeshna become achal matzah. How do we know that women have a chiv tit matzah? Because the chiv tit matzah is linked to the iser tav chametz. So because of that, they're mechiv matzah. Why did we need that? They were also the Nes of Pesach. The Shloimar, the mishum high timer, the swerve af hein hayu bois hanes loy mechayve elu midrabanan. That only creates a chiv midrabanan for them to participate in the mitzvah. We love mekesha, but women are mechuyev in eating matzah midaraisa. For that, you need hekesh. Rabbi Yosef Ishu Shalayim Tiris to Sokadai Dechel Miftera Migzer Shavat Tesvav the Chag HaSukkos. The reason why you need the hekesh of chametz to chilas matzah is because otherwise you would have made a Gzer Shavat Tesvav from Sukkos and said just like they're not mechuyev in Sukkah, so to not mechuyev in matzah, and that's why we needed the Gzer Shavat.
Why don't we set up under the person is there's no
that's a good horror. It seems like only if they were in like a danger, like Sukkah is Hashem's giving us like an extra coach bus with two washrooms and air conditioning, right? We're thanking Hashem for upgrading us, for giving us what He didn't need to give us. Because they ask, how come we don't have a special Yom Tov for the Be'er Miriam for the Mon? We only have for the Anonim. The teretz is that Hashem had to, if you take a guy into a midbar, you have to give him food, you have to give him water. But you can give him a school bus. You don't have to give him a nice coach bus. We're thanking Hashem for giving us luxury treatment. So I'm not sure if that if it goes in. It's not enough that they benefited from it. They had to be in danger to have been saved, I think. What? Okay, so the Gemara. Sagt der Heilige Gemara weiter. V'amar B'Shuban Levi. B'Shuban Levi is smoking hot today. Purim shachol v'yois b'Shabbos. If Purim fell out on Shabbos, so you don't do any of the other mitzvahs, but shay'alim v'dorshin bilyon shayim. The Rav's drasha is still going to be about Purim. So if Rashi shay'alim v'dorshin, ma'amidim turgamon lefnei achacham lidrosh igeris b'Purim b'Rabim. You darshan, you say over Torah on the Megillah. In fact, in my area, Purim, this is a special halacha that the B'Shuban Levi is saying by Purim. I feel Yom Tov Nami. Every Yom Tov, that's how it works. The Tanya Moshe Tiken Lahem LiYisrael Sheyehu Shayalim V'Darshan Binyana Shayyim Hilchas Pesach B'Pesach Hilchas Atzeres B'Atzeres Hilchas Chag B'Chag. So why should this be any different than the Takana that Moshe made? Why is there such a big chiddush that the B'Shuban Levi says that this applies to Purim? There was a special reason why B'Shuban Levi had to tell us by Purim as well. Now, you might think that you're not even allowed to discuss Purim on Shabbos because of Rabbah. And what did Rabbah say? Zok Rashi, the Gazer Lakamon V'Kris Megillah, Shemayavi Rena Arba Amas, B'Shus Harabim. If you actually lay the Megillah, we're afraid someone's going to carry it, B'Shus Harabim, to have someone show them how to lay. Maybe even if they talk about the halachas of Megillah, it's going to prompt somebody to say, hey, you know what? I better learn how to read the Megillah, and he'll take it. Afghan Grazu, Drasha Atukriya, Kamash not. Could you imagine? You would tell the Rav, you're not allowed to speak and learning on Shabbos because Chas v'Sholom, I might be over. I might get turned on to take a lulav to take a risk. But no, you don't have to worry about that. Halachas you're allowed to do.
The finish they're saying is that even though today is not really the thing that it's not Purim, Ramai says Purim, and you have a mitzvah, a mitzvah. What's the best way to do that on Shabbos? Talk about it.
Right, but the question is, right, that's true. But the question is, why would you think otherwise? The question, why would you think otherwise?
Because it's out of your mind. I've already had my suit. I already did my Mikra Megillah. I already did my Matar. We did on Thursday, right? So you're thinking I'm not.
So you're saying the chiddush has to be. I would have thought not.
I'm already in the place.
I mean, the chiddush is that I have to, even though Purim is over.
Right.
I hear. Very nice. One by B'Shuban Levi. Chayiv Adam Likras is a Megillah Balayla. There's a chayiv to read the Megillah by night. And to repeat it by day. Rashi says, by the nays they cried by day and by night. So therefore we should read the Megillah by day and by night. Like it says in the pasuk, I cried by day and you didn't answer, and by night, and you didn't listen to me. Some people do after Kiddush. Capital do.
Yeah. We only cried at night. We only cried at night.
I'm not sure. Zok to Gemara. Ekra. Let's see the pasuk. The Mizmar Lam Natzeach Ala Yelas HaShachar, which is the tefillah that Esther said. Who is this pasuk? Shenemar Al Esther Ketar Minim B'Mesach Shuma Lama Nimshla Esther Kayelas. Zok to Gemara. What was the lashon of Rabbi B'Shuban Levi? He said Chayv Adam Likris is a Megillah V'Lal V'Nishnoisa. Not V'Lekroisa B'Yoyim, V'Leshnoisa B'Yoyim. So the B'nei Yeshiva thought, Sober Minei, the Olam thought, L'Mikra B'Layla, to read the Megillah properly like we do at night, U'Lemisna Masnisim Di Yamam, and to learn the Mishnayos of Maseches Megillah by day. It's Rashi, Sober Minei, B'nei Yeshiva, Sheshamu Shmu Zua, B'Lashon HaKodesh, they heard the announcement of Lashon HaKodesh, the word U'Leshnoisa B'Yoyim, Ha'Yusfurin, the Hayl L'Shnoisa, Lashon Shoyne Mishnahu. That's not what it means. I'm going to read this parsha and I'll chazer it over. So v'lashnoisa doesn't mean mishnayis, it means just repeating. Ever parsha zov asanya, asayin parsha zu, v'shana oisa pam shniya. Itmar Amar Abchelboy Amar Ula B'Yiro Chayav Adam Lukas is a Megillah B'Layla V'Lashnoisa B'Yoyim Shenemar L'man Yizamecha Kavod V'Lo Yidoyim Hashem Alakai Lo Yidamodeka B'Yiro Adam B'Biri Yizamecha Kavod B'Yoyim V'Lo Yidam B'Layla V'Aikra B'Mizmor Aramimcha Hashem Kit Lisani Da Shina V'Psikta B'Mordechai and Esther, which is referring to Mordechai and Esther V'Haman V'Chashverosh V'Chris Megillah. I'm just reading Rashi. Shabbasu Shvachu to Shvach Shemafarsanim as a Neis V'Kol Makalsim L'Kodesh Baruch. So there's actually a big shaila if the main mitzvah of Mikra Megillah is by day or if the main mitzvah of Mikra Megillah is by night. There's also a shaila, if you miss the Megillah by night, like Shemon Esrei, are you supposed to say it twice or hear it twice the next day? There's a lot of Torah about it, which also leads us to another shaila, is which of the Kriyas of Megillah are more important. So we make the Shechiyanu by night. By day, when they make the Shechiyanu, they have in mind Matanas Lavionim and Sudas Purim. But there's a shaila, which one is the main Kriya? And it leads into a very interesting shaila. Let's say Lo Yaleinu, somebody is in jail, someone's incarcerated, and they can only let him out of jail once. So where should he ask to come to Mikra Megillah Purim by night, or should he ask to go to Mikra Megillah Purim by day? What should he ask for? Because there's actually a big machlokes between the Radvaz and the Chacham Tzvi. If you have a fellow who's in jail and he was given a day out, he was given one day off, when should he take it off? So one of the two said, I don't remember who said who, I think the Radvaz says, save your day to Yom Kippur, so you can go out on Yom Kippur. The Chacham Tzvi said, no, ain't my real mitzvahs. The first opportunity that you have to come to Minyan, to do a mitzvah, to come to shul, you should do it right away. That's right, no matter when it is. Very good. So this shaila would also depend on, should you, even if the main Mikra Megillah is by day, even if it is, could be, according to this machlokes, you're supposed to go out the first possible time. So where is this relevant to halacha to us? It's very relevant to us. We have it every single month. It's relevant by Kiddush Levana, right? There are people who are makbid to not to say Kiddush Levana the first 3 or 4 days, only to say after the 6th or 7th day. I'm not sure. After the 10th day, I don't know what that code is. So the question is, what if you have a moon earlier? Should you make Kiddush Levana now, or should you wait? According to this machlokes, I think according to Chacham Tzvi, you're supposed to, I don't know if I have it right between the Chacham Tzvi and the Ritva. So one of them says one way, one says the other way. But this machlokes would affect or impact what to do. If you hold you're supposed to chaper at your first possible opportunity, even though maybe later it's more muhudr, then you have to say Kiddush Levana right away. If not, no. I think in the winter we're makbid no matter what. If we see a moon, we say Kiddush Levana because you don't know when you're going to see the moon next.
Yossi,
Yes.
just ask a question here about bringing a proof to Chris Megillah from Tehillim. Wasn't Tehillim written or at least put together by David HaMelech?
Which was before the story of Purim.
Yeah, it seems a little anachronistic here, a little out of order. How do you bring?
What you see from here is there's a lot of Ruach HaKodesh involved.
Okay. Is that the answer? David HaMelech wrote
Rashi says that Lanatech Aliyah Hashachar is going on Esther, and Rashi says that Hashem Kedushan is going on the Nes of Purim.
Both of those are generations after David.
That's correct. So it must be that there was some Ruach HaKodesh involved.
Okay.
That's, thank you for pointing that out. That's right. Okay, so more about it. Elisha Kfarim Makdim in Liyah Makdim. Kfarim come in the month before, the Monday or Thursday before. And we had confusing talk. Who is this to benefit? Is this because it's convenient for them because anyway they come in Monday and Thursday before because that's the Yom HaShuk? Or is it so that they will be free on the day of Purim to supply the people from the big cities? And it wasn't clear exactly what the reason is. So we're going to see. So the Gemara is going to now flush that out. The Gemara is going to now clarify. Amar Chanina, but sometimes one applies and one doesn't. That's where it'll be relevant. Amar Chanina, Chachamim ekilu ala kvarim. The Chacham were making on the kvarim. Liyosh maktim liyah maknisa. Why? To benefit whom? To help the people of the big city. They should be able to get all the supplies that they need. Zok to Gemara. Remember, this seems to indicate the takana the krachan that this takana was made for the benefit of krachan. And Rashi says, "Kadesh yisapku mashma kadesh yipnuyim liyam simcha." We need somebody to work, just like who's on call in every single customer service place. Next week, it's all the Jews. If you want to call a credit card company, if you're going to want to call Points, if you're going to want to call any agency, any customer service you're going to call, it's probably going to be a Jew on the phone because they want to make double time next week, right? If they're not at a Chinese restaurant, they're going to be answering customer service lines. So if our Mishnah says, if Purim fell out on a Monday, so the Allah is Kforim by Yoris Kedoilos Karim Boibiyon. Frag the Gemara, If you're going to tell me this is all about helping the people in the Krochim, this is for you. Let them go with coming on Thursday, so that the following Monday, which is Purim, they'll be able to service the big cities. So tomorrow, that you can't do because Havalu Asara. If Yud Dalet is Monday, then the Thursday before is Yud. V'Asara like the Kinu Rabbanim. We've already clarified that the range is Yud Aleph through Tesvav. You cannot extend it further. Tashma. So let's look at a different case of our Mishnah. Cholios b'chamishi kvarim b'yoros kedolos karim b'biyayim. B'miso litzimilu yamaknisa. And Monday is only 3 days before, and therefore the Achar Aserhu. So that would fit in perfectly. So Elamai, you see.
In this case, they both do it at the same day.
Correct.
So then we see that it's not for their benefit.
For the kvarim, not for the yoros kedolos. Exactly. Zaktumar, no, that's not a raya because you never push it off from one Yom Maknisa to the other Yom Maknisa. Why not? Sorry?
But they're not available, we're not gonna have time.
Right. What can you do?
What can you do? There's no food.
They'll have to order before, right?
So if you were able to do it then, do it before.
This is easier. We want to make it easier. So the question here is, why is it Yom Maknisa Yom Maknisa Ladichin? So there's different pshatim in it. One pshat is on a Monday and a Thursday, there's going to be, even if they laid the Megillah earlier, there's still Kriyas HaTorah. So if it was Thursday and you had them come late on Monday, on Thursday they also have to come to Kriyas HaTorah. So they still won't have enough time. That was one pshat. The other pshat is, if we allow you to come Monday when Purim is really Thursday, so then the people from the Kfarim are going to assume, so even when it's on the Yom Knisa, we still push it to the Yom Knisa before. So even if it comes out of the Monday, they're going to come the Thursday before. And that's already you, that wouldn't be allowed. So those are the two pshatim that Rishai mentioned. Tashma, Amar Yehuda, Amosai, when do you say that they could lay the day before? Is b'makom shenechnasen b'sheni b'chamishi. Avamakom she'ein nechnasen b'sheni b'chamishi. If it's a place where they don't come in, then ein karin oisa elabas man. Then they could only lay in the Megillah on the right day. That accounted the krochin. If you're going to learn that this is at the kana for the krochin, just because they don't come in, the krochin should lose their advantage. Don't say that this is at the kana on behalf of the people of the big cities, and therefore you would say that regardless whether they normally come in or not, they should come in because they have to help service the people from the Krachim. It's a schar for them. It's not a takana. It's not a takana for the people of the cities. It's a schar. It's a payback for the people of the Krachim. Zokt Rashi, we're just giving them a benefit. Since they are servicing so nicely the big cities, we show them a little appreciation and we make their Purim a little easier for them. We want to be makel with them. We want to help ease their tight schedule. Since you're so kind and you give up from your Yom Tov to help service the big cities, therefore we'll let you lay in the Megillah the Monday or Thursday before. But if that's an inconvenience for you because you normally don't come in the Monday and Thursday before, it's not helping you. So therefore, it wouldn't work. So Allah Lamaisa, now we understand the reason for the Monday and Thursday before by the Kfarim. It's only to benefit the Bnei Kfarim. Why are we being so nice to the Bnei Kfarim? Because they're such good service people. They service the community so well. We want to give them a break. Therefore, it only applies where it's actually helpful to them. But where it's not helpful to them, we will not say that they can come earlier.
Yes, what's the type definition between Yisavku and
So that they should do it. But we are forcing you to celebrate Purim earlier so that you will be available to service the big cities. And since you normally service them, we want to be nice to you. Right. But Yisavku is in the future, Misavkim is in the past. So Yisavku means we want you to be available. It's a mandate. Misavkim means since you normally do it, we're going to give you a break. Zok the Heilige Gemara Vayim. Ketzat. Chaliyos b'sheni b'Shabbos. Kafarim v'yoros gedolos. Karin v'yviyon. So let's see what the Gemara says. Ma'ishna Reisha. The Nokat Sidura Diyacha. U'maishna seifa unoket sidur diyomi. The Mishnah expresses the two cases differently. Let's see Rashi. Sidur diyachad. The Katani it says b'yud aleph, b'yud beis, b'yud gimel, b'yud daled, b'tesvav keseder minyan achodesh. When the Mishnah said the general halacha of when you lay the Megillah, the Mishnah talked about the day of the month. And then when the Mishnah decided to get down to the details and show how it all plays out, Nokat Seder Yemei Shabbos, only focused on the days of the week. And only as an afterthought, we get into the days of the month. Choliyos Erev Shabbos. So Rashi is giving us an example. Choliyos Erev Shabbos. Yudalit fell out on Erev Shabbos. Kefarim Makdimin V'Yom Maknisa. Hare Yud Gimel. Choliyos b'Shabbos. If Purim fell out on Shabbos, let's see Rashi. Kefarim Makdimin V'Yom Maknisa. Hare Yud Beis. Choliyos Achar Shabbos. Kefarim Makdimin V'Yom Maknisa. Hare Yud Aleph. So why does it focus on the day of the week, not on the day of the month? Let me just finish this line and then we'll. Maishna Reisha did not to do the Yachal. Maishna Sefer did not to do the Yom. Zaktumar I did the Mishapchalei not to do the Yom. Since it changes around, so let's see Rashi and then we'll reverse engineer it. I did the Mishapchalei not to do the Yom. Klamer I day Shem Haya Eiches Yemei Shabbos. Lefi Seder Yemei Chodesh. If it would chap on the days of the week based on Yemei Chodesh, Yunapachanoi it would all get confusing. Which I think is exactly what Mati is saying. I shown you some Mishnah. Let me show you tzorich lahaskiron lachayav achar Shabbos. Dahainu Yud Aleph. In other words, if the Mishnah would have said, what the Gemara is asking, why did the Mishnah start saying if it's this day of the week, that day of the week? Why didn't the Gemara start saying, how is it that you lay on Yud Aleph? And then it would tell us about the day of the week. The Mishnah didn't do it. The Mishnah says, what happens if Purim falls out this day? And then it reverse engineers it to tell us when the Kfarim are going to end up laying the Megillah. What the Mishnah could have said is, what is the case where they lay on Yud Aleph? And then go through it that way. So, Dr. Gemara, it'll be a little bit confusing if you do that way. So let's say again, if we first pick what day of the month they lay down and then reverse engineer it to tell you how it will work out in the days of the week, it would get confusing. The Mishnah. Leave show you tzorich laskir and lachayav achar Shabbos. Dahainu Yud Aleph b'Shabbos. Dahainu Yud Aleph b'Shabbos Yud Beis Erev Shabbos Yud Gimel. It would just get confusing to say it out. Mitoich kach ubal dalig v'litos. It would make it a little bit more confusing in presenting the information. Lachi nacha tzidur diyayma v'seder achodesh habol lachirayim, and only then discuss how it impacts the day of the month. So I believe that's really what Mati was saying. It would be so much more confusing if you would say, how does it fall in the Aleph, and you work the days backwards. This way, you start off with the days of the week, and then we figure out how the chips fall and when the day of the month is going to be that you lay in the Megillah. What happens if Yud Daled fell out on Erev Shabbos? Rashi, the Katani Choliyos Erev Shabbos, Ayoros Umakavas Chaima Kairin Boy B'Yahim, which means even the Makavas Chaima that should normally be on Tesvav, which would be Shabbos, they lay the day earlier. They're going to do it on Friday. So is it the Rebbe or is it Rabbi Yosy? So let's see. Mani Masnisin Mani. Rebbe, Rabbi Yosy. Who is Rebbe and who's Rabbi Yosy? My Rebbe. The Tanya we learned. Choliyos Erev Shabbos. If Purim fell out on a Friday, Kefarim by Yoris Gedolos Makdimin Liyom Machnisa. The Kefarim and the Yoris Gedolos push the Purim back one day to Thursday. Umakavan Chaima Karim B'Yom. And the Makavan Chaima do it on Yudalit. That's what Rebbe says. That does not stem with our Mishnah. Rebbe Omer. This is the Tanakama. Right? This is the Tanakama. Rebbe Omer. Omerani. I say. Lo yitchu ayoris mimekayma. Why would you push the ayoris mimekayma? Why would you make them go to Thursday? Elu ve'elu karin by b'yoyim. Sai the ayoris kedolos and sai the mekavos chaymer are by b'yoyim. So masnichamani Rebbe Yossi. It wasn't a kasha. It's going according to Rebbe because Rebbe holds that in fact that if Yudal fell out on a Friday, both the Yoris Kedolos as well as the Karachim HaMekavos Chaima are both going to read the Megillah on Erev Shabbos. My time in the Tanakama, what the svara of the Tanakama who says that the Yoris Kedolos go back to Thursday? The Chsivit says B'chol Shana V'Shana. Rashi tells us it says B'chol Shana V'Shana Liyos Oisim Eshnei Hayom Ha'ela Kiksovam V'Chizmanam B'chol Shana V'Shana to tell you that Kol Hashanim use Shabbos. So Zok Gemara Ma Kol Shana V'Shana Ayoros Koidamos L'Mukafim. Just like every other year, normal cities are on your Dalit and the Mekavos Chaima are on Tesvav, which is the next day. Afkan, so too over here, Ayoros Koidamos L'Mukafim. So therefore, we cannot make the Mekavos Chaima lane on Shabbos, so we take the Ayoros Kodolos and we move it back to Thursday. In fact, Gemara, who said that's how you should look at it? Just like every other year, the Yoris Kedolos always read the Megillah on their proper day. Afkan lo yitchu ayoris mimim kaimon. And that's how you should maintain the consistency from year to year. So tomorrow, shiny hachad lo yefshar. Here it's impossible. Why? Dr. Rashi lo yefshar dim kain lo yiktemu ayoris lumukafin. You can't allow this year the ayoris kedolos to have the same day as every year Yudalit, because there'll be a conflict between the Mekavos Chaima. Because the Mekavos Chaima cannot lay on Shabbos. So since the Mekavos Chaima have to lay on Friday, we're forced to push the regular cities to Thursday. Zok to Gemara, the Rebbe, my timer. What's the svara? Rebbe, who says that in fact the Yoris Kedolos as well as the Mekavos Chaima both lay the Megillah on I'm sorry, what does Rebbe say? Rebbe says I got confused. They both live on Friday, right? So what is for Rebbe my time? B'chol shana v'shana. Ma kol shana v'shana. Ein ayoris nitchen mimekayim. Just like every year, everything is b'yadal. Afkan lo yitchu ayoris mimekayim. Ve'ema, why don't you say like the Tanakama said? B'chol shana v'shana. Ma kol shana v'shana ayoris koydmos l'mekafin. Afkanami ayoris koydmos l'mekafin. Shani hachad lo yafsher. So each mandomer says the other option is lo yafsher. Zok Rashi Makal Shana B'Shana Yoris B'Dal L'Kach Einitches B'Mekoymon or the Lloyd Kitana Kamador. Okay. I'm sorry.
There is an option.
But it's not an option that they want to consider. That's right. Oh, it's a Sunday. It can't be Sunday. Lo Yavar. You can't go past 15. What is Rashi saying? Rashi is on the Mishnah. Now Rashi said on the Mishnah you can't push it to 15. You can't push it to 16. Rashi says. My Rabbi Yosy, where's the Rabbi Yosy, who's also consistent with our Mishnah? The time that we learned. Chol hiyos be'erev Shabbos. If Purim fell out on Erev Shabbos, mukafin ukvarim makdimin l'yom haknisa. Yoris Kedolos karim b'Rabbi just like the Tanakama of Rabbi. And Rabbi Yosy argues, Rabbi Yosy Yomer, ein mukafin koidmin layoris, ela elu ve'elu karim b'Rabbi. Side the Mekavos Chaima and side the big cities late on Friday, which is Yudalit. My time at the Tanakama. What is for the Tanakama? This is a repeat of what we just learned in Rebbe. Ma kol shana v'shana yoris bar ba'asar. Uzman shozeh, lo izman shozeh. So it's a little bit of a twist. They're both on Yudalit. The yoris kedolos are on Yudalit, and the Mekavos Chaima are not the same day. Afkana yoris bar ba'asar uzman shozeh, lo izman shozeh, which is the Tanakama. In fact, the more be'ema b'chol shana v'shana. Ma kol shana v'shana ein mukafin kodim layoros. Avkan ein mukafin kodim layoros. Shani hachad lo yafsher. So that's in the Tanakama. Let's see Rashi. Zman shozeh lo yizman shozeh hilchol avet kitanim season lo yafsher. The lo makdemis lahu the mukafin tzorich ata la'aker ayoros mipnei mukafin or yikur b'yemech. My time of Rabbi Yossi b'chol shana v'shana. We dash from the same person. Ma kol shana v'shana. Ein mukafin kodim layoros. Every year the mukafin don't lane before the yoris kedolos. Afkan ein mukafin kodim layoros. The mukafin cannot lane before the yoris. Fekmor be'ema b'chol shana v'shana. Ma kol shana v'shana. Zman shozeh lo zman shozeh. Afkan zman shozeh lo zman shozeh. Maybe you should say that you cannot lane in both these places, in the big cities and the Mekavos Chaima on the same day. So therefore you should bump up the big cities to the day before Purim. Shani hachad lo yafsher. Dr. Gemara, v'sover Rebbe. Does Rebbe hold a Yoris loy dachinon l'yom haknisa? Does Rebbe hold that you never push off the Yoris Gedolos to the Yom HaKnisa before? Because Rebbe says that they laid the Megillah on Friday, just like the Mekavos Chaima, and you don't push it off to the day before. But by the time we learn, Kol Yois b'Shabbos, if Purim fell out on Shabbos, Kforim Makdimin l'Yom HaKnisa. The Kforim are going to lay the Megillah the Thursday before. The Yoris Gedolos Korin Be'erev Shabbos, and the Yoris Gedolos are Korin Erev Shabbos. U'Mekavos Chaima l'Machar. That was the Tamakama. Rabbi Omerani, Hoyel v'nitchu ayaris mimekayman. Once ayaris kedolos are no longer landing on Shabbos, which is their day, then yitchu l'yom haknisa. So you do find that you can push ayaris kedolos to yom haknisa. That's because it's anyway. And economy, yeah. So k'ma hachiyashta, hasam zmanim Shabbosu, v'hoyel v'nitchu yitchu. Mamish montis time, right? V'hacha zmanim erev Shabbos. So who said you should make a dichli because of that? Zok the Gemara, Kaman Azla. Who is the next thing that we're going to quote consistently? And this is what he said. Purim shechol yois b'Shabbos. Purim that fell out on Shabbos. Hakoil nitchen l'yom haknisa. Everything gets done the Thursday before. Hakoil nitchen sol kedaitach. Does this mean literally everybody? Of course not. Because va'ika mukafin dav d'lamacher. The mukafin anyway do it on Tesvav, which would be Sunday. What it means is that hakol nitche yitche l'yom haknisa. Once you're pushing things off anyway, you will push everything up to Thursday. Kaman Kerebi, this will be consistent with Rebbe. Look more. Everybody holds Megillah b'Shabbos loikarim. That is hands down. Everybody agrees you'll never lay Megillah on Shabbos. My time, Amarabba hakol chayav mekrius Megillah uvetkiyas yoykel. Ve'ena kol bekin b'mikra Megillah. Gzeira shami yitlena b'yadoi di'elech etzel bokei l'moid. The Avirena Arba Amos B'Shusarabin. Behind Tama the Shofar, behind Tama the Lulav. The reason why you don't have Mikra Megillah on Shabbos is the same reason of Shofar. And Lulav is we're afraid somebody's going to take it, Dalet Amos B'Shusarabin, to learn how to do it. Rabbi Yosy Simon for a different reason. We don't want Purim to be on Shabbos. You know why? If they say Neim Shalaniyim Nesuyos B'Mikra Megillah. The Aniyim are looking towards Mikra Megillah. Rashi's lakabel matanis havyonim. We know what happens by Mikra Megillah when you finish learning. All the mashalachim are there, right? It's an important day for them to raise money, and we don't want to ruin that opportunity by making Mikra Megillah on Shabbos. They still Rashi's goyvin by b'yoyim shemakdimin by likros. Goyvin agaboyim matanis havyonim umachalkim laniyim. They're goyvin by b'yoyim umachalkim by b'yoyim. Let's stop here because we're running late, and we'll mention tomorrow. We had a